Hey, what's up, everybody? Video 44 coming at you with another video. All right, so I'm game time ready. Game time ready. I'm sitting here with a goofy look on my face because I've been relaxing here, playing music, just enjoying myself after a nice meal. And honestly, I just want the Los Angeles Lakers to play well. That is it. That is all I'm asking. I have ranted and raved and gotten all of that out. I've said all kinds of stuff, probably hurt people's feelings. Can't say I'm sorry. I want to see you win. Hopefully, it motivates you to do that. I believe in tough love. I believe in harsh criticism that can motivate people to be inspired. I also believe some people just are not going to respond well to that. So, we try to press whatever buttons we feel over here, make as much sense as possible, and hopefully, we'll see some type of influence over time. And that's what I've done on this channel, is try to influence the team somehow through my opinion, to just do things in a way that I think really helps. And one of the things that drives me very much is the understanding that youth is, what this league is really run by at this point, and depth and conditioning and all these different things. So when I get on here and say I'm done with the LeBron James era, it's in that vein. It's simply in that vein. It's not because I don't want this player on the team or anything like that. It's just because when it comes down to it, if someone's going to be your number one or your number two, you got to know that they're going to be reliable to be there. And if for some reason that issue is going to be in place, the person next to them can't have that same issue. And right now, that's just how we're constructed. And then it becomes a situation about who do you choose. And it's never a good idea to choose anyone other than LeBron James when you're talking about the game of basketball. But the reality is, you can just count on having a younger player for longer. Even though LeBron could literally play till he's 50, we really don't know. But the point is, you can't count on that. And if you plan on counting on that, you're taking a big risk versus what else you could do. Now, could that come back and bite you in the backside? Maybe he joins an NBA champion, comes back and beats you. Of course, it's very possible. But at the end of the day, you have to think about the rest of the teams that can come back and beat you too. And if you're building with him and you're not building correctly, just like you would with anyone else incorrectly, you will not win. And at this point, it's become evident to me that the way we have to build going forward is going to make it so that we're either just as good as we are right now, which is fine, but we got to have more in place to assure that next time we go around this process, if for some reason we fail right here, we have just as much in place, if not more, to make up for what could be possible in regards to health then. Do we think that both of those players are going to be healthy next year around this time when they're a year older and this process is going forward? If we do things correctly, we can increase the possibilities of that. But I don't know if people are even thinking along those lines. Like adding more talent to this team or using more of the talent that we have more of the time. So you're not leaning on players as much and things of that nature. These are things I think would have helped this season and last season, etc. And I've talked about it for as long. So at this point, I just want to see some changes. I want to see us start from scratch, and I want to see us do that with an intention of implementing these ideas and this Mamba, so to speak, mentality into a young crop of players who can take that and run with it over time. The one thing I would say to LeBron James is, I would have fought for you when you were 22 too, when you were 19 too, and someone should have been, to make sure that certain things were in place so that the path would have been easier, so that some of the haters would have had less to say about certain things that you couldn't control, and more to say about some of the people who were in place who should have did things different in different situations. So in my mind, it's like I'm moving forward thinking about the next generation. It's a brand new crop of players coming in. From what I understand, the CBA that was just signed is not necessarily very favorable toward them. So they're going to have to be better than the people predecessors before them to get the money potentially. They're going to have to be better to get some of the incentives potentially. And how do they be better? By ignoring some of the other things that have been in place for a while and starting getting back to some of the principles and concepts of the game that have long been forgotten in the presence of this shoot 'em down from behind the arc era. I think at the end of the day, fundamentals and understanding is ultimately what's going to help athletes in this league. So that's what I'm on, man. And I think at the end of the day, it's going to be a lot of people who are going to be turned off by the idea of a Laker fan wanting LeBron James to lead a team, especially given the fact that we'd be left with what would seem like nothing. But I just have a different vision in regards to what an NBA team can actually be, especially one in this market. And I don't think I'd be without anything for too long if things are being done correctly. That seems very improbable to me. I mean, everybody and their grandma want to come to a good run Lakers team, but a bad run Lakers team, or a team that teeters on whether or not a couple players are healthy or not, really can't get too far unless those healthy players are absolutely at their best. And so that's really what it comes down to. You know, we got to take into account not only what's in place in regards to that, but of course the history and the characteristics of the players we have in place, and whether or not they're going to meet the moment in time that we need them to meet. You know, now a lot of people will argue that we just lost that Clipper game because we were trying to avoid the Suns, and that we should be on board with that strategy because most people don't think we can beat the Suns. Regardless of whether or not you think we can beat the Suns, or whether or not you think we should have competed in that game, it's still one of those situations where you're really not sure. That because we aren't sure, we just go by what it looked like. And what it looked like is guys weren't playing very well. Guys weren't trying to really do anything other than lick their wounds and ignore the fact that this was a meaningful game to the rest of us. And a meaningful game, something that meant a little different than all the other regular season games. And it just seems to me that pride ain't in place. It's pride when it comes to people demanding that we respect them for things that they did in the past, but not as it pertains to doing things right now that demand that respect. And that's where I'm at with it. You know what I mean? I'm just at a point where it's like, look, I know people have done things. We have a bunch of players on this team that have cachet in a lot of cases. LeBron James been on this league for 20 years doing all kinds of stuff. Greatest player, scorer ever, all kinds of stuff. But at the end of the day, we're dealing with what's in front of us. And what's in front of us is a lot of issues that he is going to have to mask if we're going to win a championship. And I'm just only on board with winning a championship. You know, that's it. That's really what it comes down to. I'm not on board with just being happy to be here, as I often tell people. A lot of, you know, and that's what it really comes down to. I really genuinely believe that there is a personality or a desire to be in those circumstances. You know what I mean? For some people. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with wanting to be somewhere where the expectations is not sky high, so people can just simply appreciate the simple things. You know, there is a world for that, and that world is fine. I promise you it is. The only problem is when people come here and want us to be like that. And that's just not who we are. It's just not, man. And some will say we have unrealistic expectations, but I would tell them they're not paying attention to the detail that I'm paying attention to. Because if they're paying attention to the details that I'm paying attention to, we win more. We'd win more. I don't know if we'd reach the excellence we're trying to get to, but we'd certainly win more. And we'd be a lot closer than we've been. And, you know, that's how I look at it. It's like, look, throw that at me when you've tried everything. Throw that at me when you've exhausted every opportunity to succeed. Then say that I can't meet my expectations for excellence. But if I see a bunch of stuff that hasn't been tried, and when I do see it, the rare occasions when I do see it, it works, you can't tell me to bring down my expectations for excellence. Because I know you're leaving production on the board that maybe you don't even know is there. And because you don't know it's there, you are being eluded of the celebration that I know you're being alluded to. You may not know there's a celebration you can enjoy, a championship celebration with tears running down your face and champagne all over your head. You may not know that because you're doing things that are doing the opposite. That's going to lead you away from that moment. But what I'm telling you is I've had that moment 6 times. I know what it took to get there because I watch people do it. And I watch others try to stop us from doing it. So my thing is this. If I see traits and characteristics that are leading people away from those moments, those champagne moments, I promise you, I'm going to reel them in and bring them back to it. And if they get there, they're going to be, I'm going to get them there, screaming, dragging, and hollering. But when they get there, they're going to be thanking me for getting them there. And that's how I look at it. That's what it's about. Not having a good, easy road to a championship, but understanding that it's a hard road there. It's a hard road. It's a heartless road when you have to get rid of people that are keeping you from getting there, or choosing in different circumstances from which to put certain people in so that you can succeed and get to those moments. But that's really what it's about. It's about getting to those moments. And when I see loserdom, when I talk about loserdom and fun and all that, that's because I know that crap keeps you from those moments. See, Clipper fans and all types of different fans who are happy to be here, they haven't been through that. And if they have, they went through it once, twice. They don't know what it means to bask in the understanding that you've dominated already. When you've had 2 sets of three-peats, you understand that kind of thing, like the Bulls have experienced, or like the Lakers have experienced when we've been back to back a bunch of times. You understand that that's another level of success and happiness and joy that even some of the Champagne dwellers have not faced. Because when they were trying to defend their crown, they weren't successful. Or when they tried to defend it a second time, they weren't successful. See what I'm saying? There's certain levels of excellence that people are being eluded from because of the era we're in. And they don't know they're missing these moments. They're missing the happiness, the joy that comes with actual domination and success. Or even more so, actually being someone who's reached that pinnacle. Knowing that someone out there in your midst is that great makes you greater. Because in order to beat them, you have to be. That's that type of stuff, man. That's the league I remember. When you had to be smart to win. You couldn't go up against Jerry Sloan and the Utah Jazz and not manage clock properly. You were going to lose. You didn't have a choice. It wasn't about whether or not you could handle that. You were going to go. They were going to send you bye-bye. They were on their way to see Mike. They weren't dealing with you if you weren't going to handle business in an intelligent way. And see, so when I see stupid basketball, I see teams that are food. It's because I watched these teams strategize a certain way defensively that would have made it so that the teams that are down there right now would have had difficulty trying to deal with these guys. You would have had a hard time trying to deal with them, as physical as they were, and as focused as they were. And I know people say, oh, the league has changed, the floor is spread, blah, blah, blah. What I'm telling you is, those smart people would have adapted to that, and it would not have taken long. It would have taken half a season for them to adjust to that. I'm telling you, them people were smart. They would have figured you out and figured you out fast. All this talk about, the spread the floor era, they would have figured you out fast. I'm telling you. It was a different level of understanding. It was a different level of studying. People, I'm just saying. So I know a lot of people don't like talking about the old school in comparison and all that, and I get it. The mechanics are nothing like these guys today. The mechanics. You'd have crossed them up left and right, but we've seen it. Even today we see it. Sometimes guys with the mechanics can't beat the guys who dribble regular. Even today we see it. Why? Because that stuff don't beat you on a basketball floor. That's not what's going to have you win basketball games in the National Basketball Association. So it's like, when you grow up just understanding this stuff from afar, it's like, I don't think I have to sit through ineptitude, man. I think I can suggest better. I think there's better out there. I see it all over the place. And so it's just about people going out there and getting it. And so a guy like LeBron James may see a video like this and he'd be like, oh, B don't believe in me. Laker Nation don't believe in me. They're trying to kick me out. Yes. Why? Because we know what it takes to get to those champagne moments, bro. And we've gotten to a point where it's too dang risky to roll with you in regards to what it is we're doing. It's just too risky. It's going to keep us from champagne moments. You know what I'm saying? I'll tell you, people have to sacrifice for these things, man. They have to sacrifice for these things. And it ain't just about what you do with your body. It's about how much of the pie you give to your teammates, as we were saying earlier. You know what I mean? And a guy like LeBron James has a lot to consider when it comes to his salary. He can't afford to just be saying, oh, I'll take a pay cut. It moves the market when he does that. Problem is, it leaves him in a position to be a strain on his team when he gets to a certain age or a certain point in his career. Now, maybe he ain't ready to tell the world that he's at that point. The world's just going to have to figure that out on their own. And when they do, is it going to be too late to have them champagne moments? Because you're asking him to be something that he's not? And now he can't win? And that's whose fault? Yours for not seeing that soon enough? If you're someone who needs to win, that's a path you can't afford to take. You got to nip that in the bud before it goes down that path. Because if you go down that path, you've already lost. You see what I'm saying? A person who's going to dominate ain't never going to go down a path that looks like a losing path. Because it's going to lead him to losing. And he don't lose. So it's like this is how this brain works, man. I'm Mamba. I am a Mamba mentality. person. That's all I know, man. That's all I know. And so when it comes to certain things, it's like I don't know how to say all of this and make people feel comfortable. Ain't no way to make somebody feel comfortable about what it takes to win when they have to do certain things that they don't want to do in order for that to happen. You know what I'm saying? That's just what it is. Guy like LeBron James first gonna have to look in the mirror and say, I need help. Not the help that everybody's been telling me I need, but a different type of help. The help that actually means that some of my teammates are just gonna have to be on this team in a certain way in order for us to win. I need depth, I need length, I need guys who can rebound my shots, I need guys who are gonna be able to make up for my turnovers. Like, these are things he's gonna have to be like, in order to win, as an old guy, these are things he's gonna have to take into account. And it's like, yo, you can't get mad at people who already have this in their head. You know what I mean? People who already see this can't get mad at us. They already see this. I'm not emotional about it. I don't have nothing in the way of me seeing this. It's like, bro, you need this kind of player, that kind of player, that kind of player, that kind of player, that kind of player, so that the starting lineup you're in can just function properly. You know what I'm saying? Because when you could do it all by yourself, it didn't mean as much. But now that you can't, it's like your weaknesses are exposed. So it's like, bro, how are you going to make up for that? How are you going to make up for that so we can have them champagne moments? You know what I'm saying? And for those who can't stand to lose, understand why we having this conversation. For those who are cool with losing, they want me to ride or die with LeBron James, and maybe he win, maybe he don't. But what I'm telling you is, there are things that people do when they stumble into failure. And if you can see those things coming, how do you stop them from heading down those paths? That's the question. Because look, every team Bron was on in the finals, the record is as it is. Sometimes they just went down the wrong path. However it played out, they just happened to stumble into a path that kept them from them champagne moments. And what I'm telling you is, I see a path they're about to stumble into again. Maybe next year. If not this year or whatever, but next year. If we do this again and things go the same way, it's just going to keep us from being as good as we want to be, man. And maybe we have the small chance of getting it. Small chance. Right? Small chance. But don't we broaden our chances a bit if we do things a bit better? And what if I see a way to do those things better? Am I wrong? Am I disrespectful? If I'm trying to drag my team to them champagne moments, you feel me? It's like, nah, Bron, if you want to be a part of that, you got to take a pay cut, bro. So that we can have those players that can make this starting lineup and your backups better. And then the team's going to have to help us get those players. And it's not to say that the team that we don't have is not good enough. But we need them to be even better. So that our chances will be much better than what they are right now. Because right now we're teetering on maybe, not maybe, maybe. And when it comes to maybe, that's not good enough because that's not going to dominate. You feel me? Maybe ain't going to beat Phoenix. It ain't going to beat Boston. It ain't going to beat a combination of Phoenix and Boston, which is what it is that we're trying to accomplish. See what I'm saying? It's about securing those victories so that you can win not one, but defend it next year. And then if somebody comes and gets you the year after that, come back and get them the year after that. You can't do that if the guy that's running the show is 38, man. And that is the trump card to this entire situation. See, I'm about excellence over time. But if this is only going to last for 2 more years, what are we doing? Especially if we're not overly dominant. If we're 500 good and this is only going to last 2 or 3 more years, what does that say for this path that I have in my head where I'm supposed to be competing for championships every year? What if I told you if we reset this thing properly, we can set a foundation for which that could actually be possible, whether we pull it off or not, but possible. As to which this, not. See what I'm saying? No defending your championship. I think, I guess being a Laker fan makes you understand what the real mission is. It ain't to get one. It's to get one to defend it. See, I was raised in an era where three-peating was a thing. It wasn't even about whether or not you know. No, you thought of how to be able to dominate for a combination of 5 and 6 years. It's the cluster of domination. You're not even thinking about one championship. You're strategizing 3. Or maybe that's just me. You see what I'm saying? But that's how I was raised. Like, maybe you don't have that equation figured out, but that's the one you got in your head. That's the one that you're building for. And I believe the people who do, if they stumble on the greatest talent, they'll be able to do it. Unless there's something in the way. Some type of thing in the way of that excellence actually being possible. You know what I mean? And so it's like, I don't know what I'm looking at, but I know what I don't like. And I don't like a lack of competitiveness. I don't like feeling like I'm the wrong voice, I guess you can say, for the truth at hand. But everybody's cool with ineptitude. Nah, not this one. I'm going to get us to those moments of champagne. You know what I mean? That's how I feel. I'm going to get us there dragging, kicking, and screaming. Just like I said. We're going to win the championship. And that's the thing. It's like when, though. When? How soon? And it's like that's not necessarily something we can control, but what we can control is what we do. What we choose. And at the end of the day, people have to make choices. And I tell a guy like LeBron James, it's not about having earned your respect already in Los Angeles. You already earned a certain level of respect. It ain't nobody taking that from you. Your jersey's going up. The championship banner is up. I think he would get that confused with what we saying is, or what I'm saying is we don't respect. Nah, man, that's already solidified. Every champion we've ever had is solidified. You know what I'm saying? Everybody who's ever worn this uniform and won a championship is a Laker now. That's not how we operate. But when it's time to cut things off, we cut things off. Thank you. And then you can come in the building whenever you want because you're always a Laker forever. Even if you go to other organizations, you're still a Laker forever. That's what LeBron got to understand. Ain't nobody kicking you out, bro. We just know when to stop. we just know when to stop. Or at least we're supposed to know if we're responsible. If we're running our organization properly. You know what I'm saying? That's the real deal. And look, if he goes on to win a championship with the New York Knicks, you know, everybody can jump on my case. See, you shouldn't have let Bron go. Blah, 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 blah. We're not better. I don't think we're going to be better. I just know we're not going to reach our peak. And this thing is about to end. And we're going to be a hell of a lot worse if we don't get something for his value. See, that's really what it comes down to. That's what it comes down to. Are we going to let him retire in our uniform and get nothing for him? Or are we going to trade him for the proper value and get something for him since we're limited in assets to begin with? Limited in assets to begin with. Point blank period. If we had 1 million picks on top of him, on top of all of this, we wouldn't have this problem because we could trade all that for enough and then we'd be champs. You see what I'm saying? Square one. And people got to know who they are while they have who they have. It's no different than I say about this argument about Zion Williamson. Should the Pelicans trade him? No one should trade Zion Williamson if they have the ability to keep him in a position to grow. But if they can't have him on their timeline and they don't see a path to him being able to grow there, then they should be willing to let go of him so that they can create the canvas for which that can be possible. No different than any other team. I feel the same way about Luka in Dallas. If the timeline's off, you just got to let the player go because you're not going to be able to keep him in mediocrity and think it's going to work out. You're going to drive the boy into some type of injury issues or he's just going to demand out. It's one or the other. So it's like, that's what I got to say. The Laker game's about to start right now. Salute the Kobe minute. Of course, I'm going to have something for you at halftime at the end of the game. But I just wanted to get that out because I got the energy that LeBron James is not pleased with our point of view when the reality is, it's the point of view he would have if he had our hat on. We Lakers, bro. We're not happy to be here, bro. We've seen this a million times. We know what we're looking at. And at some point in time, people just got to jump ahead of stuff or they're going to go down with the ship. All right? It ain't deeper than that. BL44. I thank you all for watching. Out.